Good evening. I'm Criztoz. I'm the creator of 45 Day, DJ, live streamer, event organizer, community builder, talk show host, podcaster. And today, this is 45 Day Show, episode 3. It's a relatively new show. This has come about following the end of my previous show, All Back to Mine, where we did 45 episodes talking to 45 different guests, all of which went through their sort of musical lifestyle, their early remembrances of music, how they became DJs, collecting records, etc., and played 7 of their choice 7s. This one's slightly different. This is just talk, and each time I have 2 and sometimes 3 guests, and we talk about topics that are relevant at the present time, but we also get to know the DJ a lot more, because part of Twitch is spreading out the community and introducing them to other people who we think they may connect with. Now, the reason I'm connected tonight with DJ Aviva is Dr BreastyCray. I connected with her through Barty Cut. I connected to Barty Cut through Don Champ. So lots of little links joining the dots. So we're going to have Dr BreastyCray coming on a little bit later. But before further ado, this is going to be an interesting show. It's already been fun talking to her already for the pre-show. Lots of interesting things have come out, and we might sort of cross about some of those. But without further ado, DJ Aviva.
Hello. What a great intro.
Thank you.
It's honestly, I'm just completely admiring the fact that you and I love 45s probably equally.
Yep.
And I cannot wait for the day that I come hop over the pond and check
Yeah.
out the stash behind you.
Yes. I'm going to say good evening to people already. We've got Just Neil. We've got Sam Nation. Thank you for that raid last night, Sam. Sam messaged me earlier and suggested I should take part in the Prince raid. And I was like, I don't think I've got enough 45s for a set. We've had a conversation. There may be the possibility of me quickly learning how to use Serato and then doing a half digital, half vinyl. But watch this space. Give me some time. Hello to Buster, SF59. Hello to Original Slack. And
I love it. The crew is here.
Yeah.
Original Slack, all amazing streamers and Mod Squad. That's who's here right now. I love it.
We will talk about moderators, I think, because they are very important to what we all do on Twitch. But let's get into the sort of beginnings. I always ask my guests when it was they first got into music, who introduced them to it. Was it sort of family, friends, parents, brothers and sisters? So I know there's a few answers for this, but tell me a little bit about that early days of music for you.
So the very early days for me, my first memories were on a recording studio floor. My parents are both musicians, and I spent a lot of it on 7th Avenue South in New York City, where a lot of the recording studios are. I was a kid. My parents were always recording. My parents did the, Pickwick Village, records that were not done by the original artist. It's usually my mom that you could hear, my dad doing the songwriting and all the arrangements. So that's really my first foray into music, is that I was kind of born into it. My uncles all play with Frank Sinatra. You can see my Uncle Sam in The Godfather. He plays upright bass. A lot of the crew knows a lot about that. It's been an interesting ride. And being a musician's kid, you're always like, that's your communication. That's your language.
Yeah.
You communicate through music. So from the very early age, I was exposed to incredible jazz. My parents were not folk people, even though they said they went up to Woodstock because they had property up there. And it was property. When I say property, it was like, a piece of mud, but it was theirs.
Right.
But they got to go up there and actually witness what was going on. My parents were huge Jimi Hendrix fans. I'm a Hendrix fan. In fact, I played him today. So those were my first real thoughts of music, is just being surrounded by it all day. So I joke around and say I never really could have been a banker. It just wouldn't have vibed with me.
There's something about it. I think on a brain level, that's the wrong word. But obviously, when you've been surrounded by music all the time, it just becomes part of your lifestyle, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
You always got your headphones in, or you always listen to music on Twitch, or back in the days, like your Walkman or whatever. And there's sometimes you meet people who are just not into music. And it's strange for me. It's really strange because it's always been there. It's always around me. I've always loved music, and most of my friends now are the same. But then sometimes you get at that. But obviously, having it there from an early age has stayed with you, wanting it to be around you throughout your whole life.
throughout my life in different stages of my life. There's like, the 70s and the 80s for me, which I was joking around saying I'm happily sitting right between 78 and 89. Like that's my sweet spot. But then I had my 90s years as well, where I was totally into Rage Against the Machine, going to Lollapalooza, going to Warped Tour, and then also being in the rave scene, which is a big, we talked
Yeah.
about, I was an Anglophile, loved everything that came out of the UK. So, whether it was Shoegazer or Utah Saints, I loved all of it. So I never, and that's the thing. Someone said to me once, like a friend of mine was like, I could never date somebody who doesn't speak the language of music, and it is. I mean,
That's
it's
what I was trying
true,
to say. Yeah, with this,
right? In your
music around your
DNA,
brain,
right?
the language of
Right.
music. That's what I was trying
You
to say.
speak in lyrics. You tap
Yeah.
dance to a beat. It's in your DNA, and when it is, in fact, funny story, and anyone who has been with me from the beginning when we started, I was so sick with my pregnancy with my daughter who's gonna be turning 2, as I mentioned. We moved into this house so we could have the space and bought it for my mom, and the only time I wasn't nauseous during the pregnancy was when I was DJing. My daughter decided, "Okay, I like this. I can kind of dance here in utero and do my thing,"
Right.
and the second I stopped, I was like, "Okay, I feel sick again." Like, she only could be happy with those beats in the bell. It's crazy how but it was true.
It's that's interesting. Obviously, I haven't given birth or had been pregnant, but my wife has, and we used to go to gigs. And again, when she was pregnant with my daughter Zizi, and one of the gigs was the Orb, and had like heavy bass, and she could feel Zizi in her stomach, well, not stomach, in her womb, kicking along to the sort of bass line.
Mhm.
And obviously now Zizi's a DJ as well. She's
I love.
does part of the 45 Kids. So again, it's interesting that even from a young age,
Mhm.
it just carries on.
Yeah. It literally is just part of the ether for them, and literally the second I stopped the music is when she would make me start feeling sick again. So it's true that it's very true how that happens though. And I want to say hi to everybody. I see a bunch of people on here.
Yeah, yeah,
Hello,
loads of
21
people.
of you. I love it. Hello, hello.
We've got Ursula, we've got Socko Nate, Snowball, Original Slack,
We've got
Dr
we've got the, we got the cool kids
BreastyCray
hanging out. Oh,
coming
by
up
the way, can
soon.
I do the shout out for you?
Yes.
He is only 3 away. So please follow. Let's hit 2,000 with him
Well,
today.
I said 3. Someone seems to have unfollowed, so
Oh, well, they
I
don't
hope
like
they
me.
don't
That's
understand.
okay.
So 4 to go.
4 to
Let's
go.
do 5 to be sure.
That's exactly. Let's push it over the edge. So anyone who's there who isn't following, please follow. That was my
Yeah.
little promo for the day.
It's crazy how Twitch has not turned us into sort of like wanting numbers or whatever, but it's just a celebration. We did. I
Yeah.
don't know if you know Svalansky. Do you know him?
Do I? Maybe.
Svalansky. He's been on. I think he's been on Slow Mo before, and he's been on some Raiders of the
I
Lost
want
Ark. But
slow. Yes. This
yeah,
part
we
of the
did
slow mo crew for
his
sure.
celebration for his 1,000 followers, 3 years on Twitch, and it was so positive. All the
Well,
DJs were amazing, and it's a celebration. It's like
it
celebrating a
is.
birthday. Every time you achieve
Mhm.
something on Twitch, because you've done it with a community,
Right.
it's amazing. So, community. Tell me what this community means to you.
So this community means everything to me. I started doing this because I lived through 9/11 in New York City and I felt incredibly powerless. I felt like I couldn't do anything to help fix how heavy the spirit was in New York City, living downtown as well.
Yeah.
So when the panic hit, I started feeling that feeling of dread again. And this time, was different. I had a son at that point, and I thought, okay, how do I turn this around into something that's positive? Well, I still have my 1,200 techniques, which you can't really see, but they're right below me. I got them on Canal
Yeah.
Street. I thought, you know what? And I had kind of dabbled with going on Instagram Live even way before 2020. And I just kind of been doing off and on. And becoming a mom, I wasn't doing as many in real life gigs.
Yeah.
And
Of
I
course.
thought, you know what? Let me do this so people feel that they're connected. And this is the vibe that I've always gone through. And anyone who comes to my channel understands that. We want everyone to feel uplifted and even more
Yeah.
positive than the time that they started with us. So I always want to make sure everyone feels good and you're surrounded by your friends and your family. So I started doing it and we started gathering. In fact, one of my mods has been at 2 of them, Jamie, Metal Flack, and Thaddy Boo with me from the very beginning. And we were just doing it, like this, talking through, the computer itself. And I was on
Yeah.
Instagram Live, and I just kept getting booted off, and it was so annoying. I'm like, oh my God, every time you get into it through a track, and then you're
Yeah.
like, okay, we're going back on, everyone do it. And friends of
Oh,
mine
so
said,
annoying.
listen, go to Twitch. And I'm like, isn't that for gamers?
Yeah,
Nope.
exactly. I mean, is that before you got into Twitch? My
Yeah.
understanding was it was gamers watching gamers play games.
Right.
And I was like, what, why? What's that all about? And it's only really when we started DJing on Twitch and then you started to understand the chat that you realized, yes, it's
Mhm.
watching gamers, yes, it's watching DJs, but
Right.
it's the space you're creating
Right.
and the room where people can just chat, and hopefully a safe space, and they can be themselves, and they can just enjoy the music together as if
Right.
they were in a physical room somewhere.
Right. Well, that's exactly it. And I joke around all the time, and I say that I am low tech but high energy. That is literally
Yeah.
who I am as I still try to fight what the hell I'm doing all the time. But I will tell you, there are two, and I have to call them out. There were two streamers in particular. One, so I was doing it for a year. We finally got on Twitch and we are happy, but there was like the same crew that kept showing up, and they are the hardcore OGs, and I love them forever. And I was so frustrated because I'm like, how do I didn't know about raids. I didn't know about anything, a full year. And I
Yeah.
finally started searching for emotes. And then came the person that helped break it through for me, Mr. Sam Nation 3000. I owe him so much
Yeah.
because he said, "Oh, you should join this raid." And that literally was what opened up the community. And through Sam, I met Original Slack, and I met DJ Gemini. I met a lot of these friends on
Yeah.
here that they have become my family. I mean, literally, like I've gotten to meet Sam Nation now twice, which I'm excited about. I
in
have
in
yet
real
to meet
life.
my other friends
In real life, you've met.
in real life. I was out.
Where so you're New York?
I'm in New York.
Where's
Sam
he?
is in LA. We
Okay, that's
actually
quite a
both
way.
work in
Yeah.
the industry. So
Right.
I went out there. I'm like, we're meeting, and that's it. And sure enough, just shenanigans central. And I'm so glad. And of course, Slack and Sam are friends, and I'm friends with Gemma. They're such a great crew. So now it's like, okay, now my kids are going to have to travel to all whatever states we need to so that we can meet our fellow friends and streamers.
But it's really important, and we do it with the 45s events that I organize, because it's in the old days you'd be like, oh, never go and meet someone that you've seen on the internet and whatever, but because we've sort of opened up, and we're
Right.
vulnerable, and we're in front of the camera, and we're talking, and it's our personality, we invite people into our homes.
Hmm.
When you do meet people from Twitch and from the community, it's like seeing your friends that you haven't seen for a long time.
Exactly.
It's amazing.
100%.
I met
100%.
Sam Tweaks. I've met, loads of DJs. We've organized events in like Edinburgh, Glasgow. We're doing
So
stuff
cool.
in Brighton. And it's really cool meeting up in real life, because you do just chat a bit like this.
Right.
And I said the other day, we were sitting there, there's, I think, 4 of us sitting there. We were watching the DJ who was playing. And I was like, it's just like Twitch. We're literally just here, but we're talking in real life, watching the
We're all on
DJ.
our phones.
Yeah,
Exactly.
exactly.
Well, that's so to your point, we had our 3rd year Twitch anniversary right here in the house. We
Yeah,
opened it up. I what I wanted to do was to support the mods that are there all the time. So I
yeah.
turned the tables. I literally turned the turntables on them, and I let them take over the place. And they each had a slot. And then we also gave and then we had some of our favorite streamers mod for us, which was just so much fun.
Wow. Yeah.
But opening up the house and then finally meeting some folks that I have, that have been my mod for a year and a half, it was so great to see them in person. Like, but then at one point I look around, it was like earlier in the day, and everyone's on their phones, like looking at it. I'm like, wait, I think we need to make this an in-person party as well. Like, let's put the phones down. It was very funny. It was
It's
hysterical.
an interesting one, because I'm assuming you know Barty Cuts.
Yes, who
Yeah.
rated today, which was just brilliant. I'm so
Oh,
grateful that he did. It was
I
a
was
really fun crew.
yeah, I normally call into his show, but today I was stuck at work for most of the day. But I normally call in and we have a chat on Discord, and I've done guest star with him. But yeah, so he talks about doing his live events and streaming them. And the way he did it, he turned off the chat to just emotes, and obviously, because people were in the venue when they were using Twitch to do the emote, it was literally instantaneous on his sort of emote wall and stuff. So that was interesting, the interaction with people. I know you're saying getting off your phones, but
Right,
if you're then
right.
interacting with the projections and the visuals, you're then part of the bigger event as well.
Yeah. It was hilarious to watch it in person. I'm like, we are all dorking out on our phones, and yet hello,
Yeah.
we're here. We don't
Yeah.
have to go on here anymore. But it was just awesome, and I'm hoping to do more of that. I mean, it has really been for me. We were, talking about mental health. I run a business. I have two kids under
Yeah.
6. And there's been, we're literally, I feel like sometimes we're living the end of days, not to sound crazy, but it's just been so much that we've gone through that we don't
Yeah.
realize everything we've gone through in the last few
Yeah. Yeah.
years. This is my therapy. I literally come here to heal myself. And when you see
Exactly.
me doing a pop-up, I've said this to my friends, like, if you see me doing a pop-up, that means I'm working through some stuff and I need to meet my muse, play
Yeah.
some songs, and make people feel good. That's what keeps me going.
And it's for me, and it's because we're talking the same language. We are talking the same language now because I was saying to my wife about this the other day. I've been going through some stuff the last few weeks, and I felt that okay, I needed an hour or whatever just to be in front of the desk, listening to music I want to listen to. But then within a few minutes, someone comes up, "Hi, how you doing, Criztoz?" Someone else comes in, and you're like, "Wow!" The fact that people want to spend time
Yeah,
on my channel, bearing in mind there's now hundreds of other DJ channels or whatever else, is really important. So obviously you've got to make them feel welcome and you've got to make them feel part of this community. And I think we
right,
do similar things. Um, and now we need to bring these communities together, and then we bring other communities together to make
right.
this thing a bigger thing. That's
We
my
have
aim.
to. Well, we have to because just in general, things are so polarized right now,
Yeah,
and ugly, and really ugly. And for my kids, I don't want my kids growing up in the ugly that it is right now,
yeah,
especially for women's rights, as I've talked about, LGBTQ plus rights.
yeah,
These these they are my family, and I can't stand by. And that was it. I just couldn't stand by. First it was the pandemic, and then it was the riots, and then it was, and it was, and it was, and I literally was also not just making sure people felt connected, but also in just like, hey, I'm checking in with my friends in New York. Is everything going on? Are you
yeah,
okay? And it became, that's how we've all gotten so intensely close. And in fact, one of my good friends who has known me for over 30 years, she came to the party because she's kind of tapped in a little bit on Twitch, but seeing it live in person, she's like, I now truly understand what this community is all about. And funny enough, she knows another streamer very
yeah,
well who she worked with at a record label, and they got to hang out and catch up here in this space. So it's bringing the worlds together, but it's also bringing together creatives that
yeah,
I think if we aren't creating, if we're not emoting, then what are we doing? We feel a
yeah,
little lost. And everyone that's a part of Twitch, every single person, I don't care if they're in banking or if they're a real estate developer, if they're creating on Twitch, they are
yeah,
creative and they need to emote. And that's why I love what Twitch is and has been for us.
yeah. It's been amazing, and I think for me, obviously started just doing the DJ streams and then gradually do more talking because obviously a lot of us aren't used to talking like
Right.
this. And certainly men of certainly my generation and maybe slightly younger. And hence why when someone opened up to me in my community, Double P, and sent me this message saying from his son, Minimal P, who's now one of our 45 kids, he was like, "Thank you, Criztoz and Fat Wax, for helping my dad get through depression." And I was
Wow.
like, wow, wow, this is something here, really. And then I spoke to him and said, "Do you want to talk about this on a talk show?" And he said yes. And then we did the very first talk show I ever did was part of my journey talking to him
Wow.
and his friend, Mr. Musto. And he just offloaded a load of really deep, important stuff. And I was like, wow,
Yeah.
now we can start using this for more than just playing records
Mhm.
and breaking people's wallets while they want to buy the records that we're all playing.
Right. Well, I get blamed I get blamed on the daily on the fact that I've made everyone a vinyl head because now
Yeah.
everyone is they've all of a sudden, reestablished their love of vinyl. I said, I will take full responsibility for that, and I'm okay with
Yeah.
that. It's just because I never left vinyl. That's the thing. It's like
Yeah.
vinyl's always been, everyone's like, CDs came on, you gotta get rid of your vinyl, then everything went digital. You gotta get rid of it. I'm like, I'm not and now of course you can't even afford vinyl. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's insane. But I do want to tell one small little story
No,
just
of
in
course.
terms of and people, some of the folks who here actually witnessed it in real life, and it was really hard, and I talk about it all the time. I was actually streaming. This was not this last, no, it's actually was on my dad's birthday, but it wasn't this last January. It was last January 30th of 21. Um, no, 22. And I was streaming, and someone kept calling my phone, a mutual friend of my friend, and it was a Sunday, and I went, I don't like that this person's calling me on a Sunday, because I put it to voicemail, and they called again, and I'm streaming, and I thought,
Right.
okay, I better pick this up. I'm gonna pick
Yeah.
it up, and it was my friend telling us that my mutual friend, who was a very close friend of mine, had passed away from a massive heart attack. And I was live getting this news, and I
Right.
literally I don't even know what my face looked like. It must have just
Yeah.
been so horrific, and everyone was like, well, I go, I have to go," and I just literally figured out how to
Yeah.
fumble, turn it off, and then I just fell to the floor. My husband's like, What happened?" It was the most one of the most intense things in my life, to just
Yeah.
get that kind of news as you're live, and people then going, "What happened?" So I quickly sent a note to people, but it was really hard to do that, and
Yeah.
since on Twitch, like, the last couple of weeks, I've lost 3 people I know, 2 of them very close to my mom, her sister, and our neighbor across the street. So it's been very intense. So people are like, "Oh, you've been not streaming a lot lately." I'm like, I have to. I have
Yeah.
to stream because it's my way of coping
Yeah.
and making I feel good when I make other people feel good. That's what's lifting me up. And so if I have the opportunity to do that, I will. So it was intense. It was really intense. There's been highs and lows on Twitch for sure.
Yeah. Um, yeah, I had I had something similar. It wasn't obviously quite so close as the person you're saying, but my friend, he's a DJ locally. I hadn't sort of seen him for a while. He sort of said his mum wasn't very well, and then I got a text on stream saying that she'd sadly passed. And you're just like, okay, it wasn't that I needed to stop straight away, but it's certainly weird because
Yeah.
people are viewing, and again, it's coming back to this vulnerability. People are
Yes.
seeing you for the person that you are and
Mhm.
your personality. And that's what hopefully brings people back to the channel because they know if they come there. And therapy, like you mentioned, I've had people say, this is my therapy, coming in because
Right.
even though they're not playing, they might be viewing, they might not even be a mod, they might just be lurking. It takes them to somewhere that hopefully there is good vibes and positivity.
Yes, and there's been a few times where if either I'm working on a production or something and I haven't been able to stream, and I've had folks reach out and say, "We really miss you, like, we need you back.
Yeah.
We feel the connective tissue," not just with me, though. I always joke around, we're the chaos crew. It's the folks that are in the channel and know they can look forward to seeing their friends. It's almost like going to the local pub and going,
Yeah.
"Oh,
Yeah.
I get to see
Exactly.
my friends on a Saturday night."
Yeah. Yeah.
It's become that, which I find, thank God, because I'm not able to go out. I've got 2 little ones at these days. It's like I go to a show once in a while. I'm lucky if I can even do that. But the
Yeah.
fact that we have this amazing technology to do this really is, I'm incredibly grateful every day. Even though we bust Twitch all the time, like, "Oh, goddamn Twitch. Twitch is twitching out," or whatever. It's still, I don't know what I would have done without it during the pandemic.
It's so I mean, there's so much to it, isn't there? As far as when it goes wrong, the thing I love most about Twitch is that people stick around.
Mhm.
Some will go and some will be like, oh,
Right.
okay, stream's gone down. But a lot of the time people hang around and they carry on chatting,
Yes.
in the chat,
That's
which
happened
always
to us a couple
yeah,
times.
which always amazes me, which is brilliant because it's like
Completely.
say we talk about being in a pub. I talk about it a little bit like going to like a stage at a festival, and then because of the raiding, you then say to all your friends who you're at this stage, let's go and check out this DJ on this stage over here,
Mhm.
and you sort of move them across, or going into a local pub. So it is amazing when imagine if a DJ's PA suddenly blew up in a
Exactly.
in a club or something,
And
and then
everyone's
everyone
just
just
standing
still
around
stays
going,
there.
"Anything you're gonna fix it?"
Yeah. Everyone's still there chatting, aren't they? Waiting
Yeah,
for the guy, "Oh, the music will be back on in a minute." But the vibe's there, and all you've done is brought people to the same place that you think
exactly.
would
I'm very
like to
proud of
see.
that. I'm very proud of the crew that we've kind of, all of us feral creatures that have found each other on the side. No, we just have such a we literally have shenanigans all the time. But we also, in those really tough moments, I mean, there's a few people that we know that are really going through it right now with
Yeah.
some physical stuff, and we're there to reach out and make sure people are okay. And another thing I forgot to mention is that we haven't done it in June yet, but we actually do a monthly Zoom. There's about 15 to 25 of us that show up every month, and we love it. And
Dr
it's
BreastyCray, I think in a message did mention about your Zoom calls, but we got sort of sidetracked with slow-mo organizing or something. So yeah, tell me about the Zoom calls.
so the Zoom calls, I don't want to hear myself talk all the time. I want to get to know the folks that are here all the time. There's AJ's
Yeah.
part of that. What started out was just everybody getting to know each other, like, oh, and we put our names, as our handles or freaking name, whatever the hell we call it these days on Twitch. But and now we all know who everybody looks like. And now, especially since we party and people came in or people were able to DJ, we're like, oh, that's what they look like. It really is get community 360 to see not just me every week, but for them to see each other. And what started out as like just a fun community thing is now honestly we call it 45 Thunderdome.
Right.
Snowball sells 45. So clearly we need to connect the two of you as well, although I don't know what's going to be to send overseas. She's here. And so we literally
Yeah.
it's gotten to a point that we're all fighting over some 45s that we want to buy, that literally she has she rolls the dice and she's like, "Okay, you got you called it first, you got it."
Amazing.
But we're buying, so we have like we have our
Amazing.
fun stuff, and then the
Yeah.
last like hour we're like, "Okay, let's do the 45 whatever boxes she has." It's just become an extension of Twitch, how we can really be friends and family, the family as I call it. And really, some days people are having a real effing hard week and they're
Yeah.
like, you know what is going on in the universe? Can we talk about it? And
Yeah.
that has been an extension of therapy for all of us because now we really are friends. I went record shopping with AJ. She'll tell you. We were fighting over records at Bananas in Tampa. It was hilarious.
Uh,
So
AJ said, it's the daily, weekly hangout with people I've never met in real life, but I feel closer to than some in real life people I know.
right there.
That's
That
yeah.
right there.
Again, there's so many things to unpack from what you just said. So I'm interested in the Zoom call because I had in my head it would be cool to have. There's been the odd group chat. We've got various groups, 45s and whatever. There's been the odd group video chat, but it was a bit crazy because everyone was trying to talk. So that's my first question. How, if you've got 20 odd people on a Zoom call,
It's challenging.
how does it work?
It's challenging. I think, we may have to come up with, like, we'll have to do the hand up and everyone
Yeah.
start put a exactly. We have
You
to
can
think.
talk now, but that
You
sort of
can talk.
kills the
It
conversation a
does.
little bit.
Sometimes I'll play referee and say, "Okay, so and so wants to say something," and then they go ahead and and we make sure that that person gets what they need to say. But there's a cadence and a flow, just like life. There's a cadence and a flow to the conversation. We kind
Yeah.
of make sure that we are making sure we are letting some folks talk. Sometimes if we know, like sometimes Slack will come in and we know that he's got to go somewhere, so he'll chat with us for a little bit, or someone has to stream, they'll dip in for a little bit and then they'll say hi and chat with us, and then we'll actually go and follow that person. Sometimes it's Slack, sometimes it's someone else on a day that we want to go say hi to, and we take the party back into the stream.
And it's yeah, I mean the technology is crazy already. And we're only just getting started, really. I mean, I assume you were probably
Right.
about 3 years and a bit, maybe, like most of us, something like
About
that.
yeah, so was my Twitch anniversary was, actually May, and so it's been 3
Okay.
years, but I am slow on the uptick. It's terrible. Like, I am still I literally will reach out to, like, Sam or someone going, "How do I do this? I don't know how the hell to make this work." And
Yeah.
so that's why I'm like, I just depend on my vinyl to get me through a stream.
Yeah.
There's times I'm like, "Oh, good, I can clip art it." I'm terrible. I need to literally, like, sit with YouTube and just have a tutorial because I
Yeah.
wish I knew more about tech with Twitch.
There's so much. And again, we're just the tip of the iceberg. What we're doing compared to what the gamers are doing and all this other stuff is
Oh my
is
they
just
would
another
look at me and be like, "I am
thing.
Atari to whatever the hell their best game is right now." Like,
Yeah,
terrible.
exactly.
And I'm okay with that because that's where I sit. I know my space. I know my lane.
Now, the other thing, correct me if I'm wrong, but you're saying the Zoom also includes people who aren't necessarily streamers but are viewers. Is that right?
Yes. So we have it. I would say it's the folks that are there every week. It's our friends, it's our mods, it's our real tight crew that's been with us, I'd say, for at least a year. And sometimes we have some new folks coming in, but some are a little shy and they're like, what? It's almost like I'm jumping into this jump rope. What are we doing here? Oh my God, I don't know if I'm going to do this. But those that are bold, it
Yeah.
is worth the journey.
But it's interesting again because obviously the streamers, we see each other. It's
Hmm.
nice to you sort of get the odd face to a mod, but it's nice to be able to sort of share that and see them as well. And I guess
Yes.
for them, it's not because they're not necessarily streamers, they're not necessarily DJs, they just love
Right.
the community. So
And they
it's,
handle a
it's
majority
great
of
that
the
you do
work.
that.
Metal Flack, Snowball, Buster on my crew here. There's Thaddy Boo, and I don't know what I would do without them. I mean, honestly, they
Yeah.
are the gatekeepers and the security at the front. I mean, I honestly, they are the best. And Dodgers 40 is my mom, if we can say hi to mom, as we were just talking about. Um,
Is Dodgers your mum?
that's my mom. Yep, my
Ah, hello.
jazz singer mom that we were talking about. And but the mods don't get enough love, which is why I wanted to make sure that our third year Twitch anniversary was really about them. And so each of them, if they couldn't DJ themselves, I had them, especially if they weren't in town like Michael or Thaddy Boo, I had them send me their playlists and I played it for them. I want them to know how much I appreciate it. It's not like they're getting paid to do this job. It's hours on end. They're
Yeah.
constantly there. Like, I don't know how else to say thank you other than let's celebrate you. And that I think for me is I'm all about a celebration. And I say this at the end
Yep.
of every stream because tomorrow's not guaranteed to any of us, as we
Exactly.
all know. And I want people to feel that they have a home in our stream
Yeah.
and that they have a voice. And that's what's important.
Well, I always say that we're privileged to be able to stream, firstly, and also play music that we love, and also to be able to share it with people who are now our friends. You know,
Exactly.
and it's strange because one of the things that I think gets, I don't know, maybe it's different without when you're not in the music community, but as you get older, it becomes harder to make good friends. You know,
Hmm.
when you're a kid, you're hanging out with people a lot, and then you're teenagers, people get married, go off, have children. You don't connect. The fact that we are meeting new people every day, new
Yeah,
followers, people who are coming into our chatting to us, is amazing that we're making these new lifelong friends, I think, a lot of the time, at
absolutely.
our older sort of age. I assume there's other communities like that, but it doesn't feel like quite as many people I know who are suddenly finding new friends all the time.
There are kindred spirits. I mean, this is the greatest platform to find your kindred spirits. When you're in the art and music community, in the creative community, they're the ones that you're your friends that you would find and meet at the amazing, show, a punk show that you would go to. If I was at a City Garden show, I'd find
Yeah,
my people like that. That to me, if I was at a rave, I'd be, oh my God, look at that amazing shirt they have on, whatever it is, I would, in real life, but you get brought together by your taste in music. So I met a lot of my friends, not just in the music industry, but I met them being at shows, and
yeah,
that's how we became friends. Or I was DJing in real life, and a lot of people that gravitate. In fact, one of my friends, Marion, who hasn't been with us in a while, he's a photographer, but the beginning of Twitch, he was with us all the time. He came out, he couldn't believe this is the 90s. I'm old, but he came up to
same
the
here.
DJ set and he's like, you're a DJ? And I'm like, why? Because I'm a female? Like, I bust him all the time about it now. But
Good,
he's become one of my closest friends. I think I was playing Sisters of Mercy, and he was like, who is this woman playing
right?
Sisters of Mercy? And then Ministry, like, what is happening? And I was like, yeah, we like good music too. What the hell? So anyway, so it's just, but those are the types of things, especially in the 90s in New York, there weren't a lot of us women that were DJing. And so I was kind of like an endangered species. Like, what's that in the corner in the middle of lit? And I joke around and say it's amazing some of the spaces I've DJ'd at that we got out
Yeah,
alive. So
yeah. Well, I was
it's
yeah,
insane.
I was reading a little bit of background about you to find out more, and I was like, wow, 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 wow. It just carried on like that. I get,
I just don't sleep is the thing. So it's like if you don't sleep, you
yeah,
pick up
same
enough
here.
hobbies. Seriously.
And Twitch was one of those things that certainly during the pandemic, people weren't sleeping, and I think
Yeah.
it just got them because we were all. I don't know if enough people talk about it maybe yet, but we were all in this state of sort of trauma for
Yep.
a good couple of years. We were like, what's going on? What the hell?
Fight or
Am
flight.
I going to die? Are my parents going to die?
Yeah.
Am I going to catch something going to work because I've still got to work? And I think it's only now suddenly sort of that trauma starts to come
Mhm.
out of people.
It's It's very anti-human what we just went through. We couldn't travel, we couldn't be with each other,
Yeah.
we just couldn't be together, you know, and that is just not how we're built. We're built to be around our communities
Yeah.
and our spirits and our friends and our family and those that we wanna spend time with. I'm someone who went to 1,000 shows all the time. You know, of course, it's slowed down a lot of because I have a kid, 2 kids
Yeah.
now, but you know, just not being able to embrace going into that energetic level where you go to a show and there's so many great shows this summer that some folks have already started to go to. You
Yeah.
know what I'm talking about. You tap into the same ether that the artist is trying to convey, you know, convey to you. And when you've been robbed of that, literally everything stopped down.
Yeah.
It's literally like we were living in a war, and we were, because it was a silent thing that you could not put your finger on. You're like, I can't even hug my parents. My kids can't hug their grandparents. It's a
It's
terrible
insane,
thing.
wasn't it?
It was insane. I'm glad
And
I
it,
was able to have a baby, when the rules had loosened up a little bit, but there's women
right.
I had heard from, like, they couldn't even have their partner in the room when they gave birth. Like, that
Yeah.
is traumatic.
Yeah. And we're only slowly working through it, I think.
Mhm.
Um, but the fact that we had Twitch, firstly to stream, but also to be able to view other people, it was
Right.
amazing having that connection. And a lot of people that I've spoken to call it, I think you've mentioned as well, tribe. And also, I've had other friends, DJs that come on, who said, I didn't think there was people out there like me. And I was like, what do you mean? And it's like, you know, who were really into like records or really into
Mhm.
buying 45s or really into vinyl. Because most people I talk to, you talk about music and they're not really into it in the same way, and they don't understand why you're so into it.
Right.
Because if we sat down to someone who we didn't know and who wasn't really into music, and we said, right, we spend X amount of hours listening to music, streaming it, buying it, checking out other
Talking
people,
about it.
they'd be like, what? Why? You know, you insane? And you'd be like,
Exactly. Yeah.
they just don't get it. And this is coming back to the thing, people who aren't really into music don't quite
Well,
get
that's
what we've
but
got.
it's I really am grateful every day for Twitch, because you do have that ease and trust factor, because there's also like that shorthand that I love that jazz musicians have. My mom will tell you, or any musician, there's a shorthand where there's a
Right.
trust factor. You're allowed to kind of color out of the lines a little bit, and you know that there'll be someone behind you to catch you. And I think when you know you're rating into, usually when you're rating into a channel, you're like, oh, I've heard, like today, Barty Cut said it to me,
Yeah.
which I was like, I almost was tearing up when he said it. He goes, oh, we had a list of 4 DJs or so, and overwhelmingly they chose you. And I was like, well,
Amazing.
really? Me? Are you, like, I'm looking like, are you talking about me? And it's a nice feeling because, again, I don't have all the bells and whistles. It's me and my vinyl and the love of the sound, that warm sound of vinyl, and the artwork and the things that I love about music and records. And I think that now I'm not kidding you when I tell you that I get blamed for now the obsession of vinyl again in our crew. They're like, "It's your fault we're spending all this money on vinyl." I'm like, it's a good obsession to have.
It's a good obsession, it's a good addiction, it's a positive addiction, and if
Yeah.
you get lucky, you buy a record that's then it goes up in price
Yeah,
further
it
down the line.
does. Oh, and
Uh,
okay, let's give love to Original Slack. He pushed hard for the raid, so thank you, Slackaroo.
thank
Slackaroo is another one of my blings in the Twitch space. So I always joke around and say, I am vinyl to his video. So
yeah. But it's amazing,
I'm
and I
here all
think
day.
yeah, no, what I mean, I said to you before, I think before we went live that this might just be a part one. And I think the reason is I think we're quite connected, and interestingly, a couple of points we were discussing before the show, and I think it'd be cool to share what we discussed before the show. But you were talking about the fact that this was your family home that you're in now
Mhm.
when you were
Yep.
younger, and I was like, hold on a minute, are you saying that's where you grew up? And you're like, yeah, yeah. And then I explained that where I live now used to be my parents' home, so I was here from like 5 to 12, and that this was my playroom back then. And my first memory is listening to the Grease soundtrack on a blue record deck when I was about 5. Um, and you were then explaining about all the things that were happening around in your space that you're in now. So talk about that then. So from a young age, what was going on in your room there?
So in the space here, and a few people might have heard this before, but my mom, Dodgers 40, she did jazz music, but then also for her bread and butter, she was a band that was hired for weddings and bar mitzvahs and parties and what have you. So they had rehearsal here every week on Wednesdays. Funny enough, that's the day I just realized that those are the days that I stream too. So
Right.
every Wednesday, it just hit me. So every Wednesday, like there's an archway here to go into another room. You can't really see it, but her drummer was set up over here.
Yeah.
My mom was right in the middle. She had her keyboard by where the piano is, and she had all the pieces of her band in this room. And every Wednesday they would rehearse. Whether we joke around, I used to joke around all the time when she was learning like the big hits of that moment of that week or whatever. And I'm like, Mom, please don't sing that. She's like, it was requested by the bride. I'm like, oh, she's learning the Cure. But it was great. I mean, I literally sat there and listened to the musicianship. I loved, again, that shorthand that musicians just have. It's a wink, it's a nod, trusting the musician that's going to take you to a note, and this the way that they communicate with one another is a language that is such a beautiful thing to watch. And so in this other room, of course, is also where we had all of the vinyl, and I would sit here in
Wow.
this room. If I wasn't listening to vinyl, I was watching MTV. I was lucky to have CMTV for the very first video on, and I was just overwhelmed by the incredible collection of, really was video killed the radio star. Early MTV days, you're like, ooh, I don't know if he should have a video. We joke about the Billy Squire one all the time. There was like um, the one video where it's like he's dancing around on his satin, and that was the end of his video career after that. But music is just, I was getting star hits. I literally would go up the block to get every week or every month get star hits so I could see what was going on in the UK. I mean, I was obsessed. Gary Newman, I saw him on MTV and I was like, that's it. I need to go. And of course, Modern Meerkat's going to make some comment about him being a dentist. It's a long story. But I remember seeing him and going, what alien creature is this? And how do I get more of that into my brain? And that was the beginning of my love for Gary Newman and all
Amazing.
things Anglophile over here.
So Modern Meerkat has said, and this sort of leads into one of the questions I was going to ask you. Wait. We need to hear Dodgers 40 cover The Cure now. So first question, you've talked about your mother. Does she come on any of your streams?
So she was here. She does, and in fact, she sang. We have it,
Wow.
and I need to send it to Modern Meerkat because he actually is very supportive of my mom and a lot of my friends who are musicians. She I had her stems, her background vocal or her background tracks, and she sang from one of her records, and it was beautiful. So that was one of the treats that we had, both for people that were here and streaming. We did was later that night, way past your bedtime, during the anniversary, and it was just great because she's done it before when we're at the old house, and she got up and sang a couple times. But she put a CD out when she was I know she could she's in she I won't say it. When she turned a
No.
certain age, she put her CD out, and it was incredible,
Amazing.
and it was great. So, yeah, so she's been on the stream a few times, and it's always a joy because I always tear up when I hear my mom sing. It's just she's got this gravitas in her voice, but yet it's sweet at the same time. But when she pulls you in with just certain cadence of her singing, and then really can blast you out as well. So she sang "Over the Rainbow," and it was great.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah, it
It's
was.
amazing. And again, it must be amazing that you can have and share that connection and that passion for music. I'm sort of finding it with my daughter, and obviously she's sort of DJs a little bit, and
I
she's got
love
her
that.
own come and done gigs. But it's really nice being able to have something that we both enjoy, but can sort of learn from each other in different ways.
Yeah.
We were watching, interestingly, I was watching a guy called The Bourbon play the other day, and someone had connected me with him. Polly ever after connected me with it 'cause she'd watched our 45 Dub show, and she said, oh, you should get The Bourbon on, send him a message. So I spoke to him, went into his chat, and he was playing jungle drum and bass. And I was like,
Oh,
oh, do you know this guy who's a friend of mine from here who produces? Like, yeah, Dub One, I love him. And then we were watching a jungle stream after that, and they had loads of little Pokemon figures on the bottom. So all the people in the chat are avatars.
oh,
And she's
it's
like,
great.
oh, can we get that? So we've been messing around with it for our next sort of
Oh,
parent
I
and kids
love
stream
it.
to try and get that. But it's interesting that she's inspiring me and I'm inspiring her. And it's just, yeah,
I
it's great
So I
having that
have to ask
connection.
a question though, because especially since you're a Brit.
Yeah.
So one of the things that came out of 45, you're gonna be like, you are insane. One of the things that came out of the 45 Thunderdome, I kid you not.
Okay,
So
let me solo
Snowball
you on here.
Snowball goes ahead and says, "Oh, I have this 45." She holds it up and
Right.
it was Mr.
Okay.
Blobby.
Okay, because today when I was in your chat, you said, "I've adopted Mr. Blobby," and then there's all these Mr. Blob, and I'm like, "Wait, what?" Who I'm talking
I
to
was one of the
later.
only ones that knew Mr. Blobby, and then I sent them the stream of like some of the outtakes of Mr. Blobby, and we've just now he's ours. So sorry.
I've seen now another funny story, and here we go. We've got hundreds of Mr. Blobby.
We do. There he is.
I
Sam
mean,
Nation created
this
the
is one of
emote.
those moments. I can't believe that we've got a whole thing for Mr. Blobby. That is insane. And in fact, I'm gonna
I love it.
I can get my phone to work. Yeah.
Look at
Now
that.
we've got almost our own version of that.
You do.
So Double P, who's now in the chat, who inspired the mental health talk show, and also with a little bit of help from me, but he's organised sort of 4 weekend mental health raid trains and raising awareness of that. So he jokingly, I think, bought the Birdie song. Do you know the Birdie song?
The Blobby song?
The Birdie song,
No,
not
the
the Blob.
bird. I don't know if I know the. Do we have
Oh
to?
my
We may
god!
have
I
to get a
don't.
new.
I should have prepared this. I don't have it. I don't think I actually own it. I will send you a link at some point.
Please do, because we're gonna
Um,
keep on and Blobby on as they just wrote.
because I think, yeah, once you see this, it's not a million miles away from Mr. Blobby,
Mhm.
and it's probably maybe the more original, ridiculous song.
Right.
So he plays it, and then he bought a double of it, and then I made the flyer. I made him as part of this Birdie song thing. When you see it, you'll be like, "What? That is crazy." But I love that you've taken Mr. Blobby.
Oh yeah, he's
That's
ours. There's a huge Blobby upstairs. I didn't want to have Blobby take over the whole conversation because he's a
have
little
you
bit of a
watched the show?
diva.
Is it just the character, or have you actually watched
No, I've
the house
watched
party?
I was early adapter to AbFab. We have AbFab, so like I'm telling
Yeah,
you,
but
I'm
that's
obsessed with British
ab
television.
good.
True, but I love anything that's a little bit ridiculous. And if you watch, some people
It
like
is certainly ridiculous, yeah.
it's totally ridiculous. In fact, I don't know if you remember Mr. Friendly in my rave days. I still have my Mr. Friendly backpacks. Like it's stupid. It's just, bottom line, I'm still a kid.
Yeah,
We're all
but it
kids.
makes you smile, it makes you laugh, which is again, it brings joy. So
It
another
does.
thing we do, there's a song that I play, which again, I know that Double P will laugh every time I play it, and it's the Muppets Phenomena. You know that record?
Phenomenon. That one?
Phenomena. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
By the
Dun,
Muppets. Okay.
dun, dun, dun,
So
dun.
I've got it on 45. I play it that. And I play a lot of slow-mo stuff with Dr. BreastyCray.
Yep.
So someone said play it at 33. So we played at 33, and then we'd like speed it up from 45 up to I've got plus or minus 50 on my decks.
Oh,
So we got
nice.
from 45 up to that. So then I was telling my daughter about it. So when we did the next 45 kids, she was like playing. And then we realized you can do 78 on my decks,
Ooh.
plus or minus 50. So she was taking it really slow and then speeding it up to like at 78 plus 50%, which is like 100. This thing was like, she was absolutely wetting herself. And that's the moment that we recorded. And again, the people in the chat were like, this is brilliant,
It's so good. I love that. And one I actually have my son now singing is "Eep Up Ork that means I love you." I mean, we are ridiculous. We are, yeah,
But it's about joy, isn't it? It's about joy, spreading happiness, laughing, being able to
completely.
laugh at ourselves and
Mhm.
with other people.
Yeah,
And like you said at the beginning, if someone comes into a stream at the start and by the end of it, they've gone away in some sort of happy mood, or their spirit's been lifted,
right.
we've achieved something, haven't we?
Completely. And that is, I mean, I make a fool of myself on the daily. I really do. I mean, and you can't take it too seriously because then what's the point? If you're not
Yeah.
enjoying yourself, what's the point? And I'm okay with the vulnerability. It's the one day when I really just broke down when I lost my friend. That was really hard. But other than that, I want everyone to have a good time when they come to our channel. And a lot of times they do. I mean, we joke about like, oh, I lost the other day. I said something insane where I'm like, well, I lost 4 followers for that one, but I don't even care because then you're not our people. we're a very inclusive group, but you have to
Yeah.
also have, a sense of humor when you're with us, because I mean, look at this wall I'm standing in front of. Do you think any of this is normal? I mean, I have Muttley, I have a Bowie doll, I have Count Chocula,
Hold
Quisp.
on, let's solo you in, and we've also got,
I mean,
again, another interesting thing. We've got the same light. You've got that Pac-Man
the Pac-Man light.
4-color light, and I've got the same light here.
Exactly. I've got
But
all my favorite cereal. I have Quisp, Captain Crunch, Twix. I've got my Kiss lunchbox up there. I don't know if you could see. It's probably too far up. I have Tony the Tiger, Funny Face, Mr. Softy, the Grinch. I have a Joey Ramone doll. You can't even see. That's way up there. My Burger King. I mean, it's everything, again, as a kid, that made me smile. And of course, for
yeah,
Pride, we have our Ghosty. He has to
yeah.
represent.
Oh.
Welcome back, Cotter 45 tote, not Star Wars record tote, which I may have to find one for you in my travels.
Well, I was telling you, there was another 45 day happens on the 4th of May each year, 4-5,
Yes.
because I'm in the UK. Obviously, the States is the other way around, 54 day. But obviously, Star Wars Day is the same as 4th of May. So yeah, we've done some Star Wars stuff.
Yeah,
and,
we have for sure.
definitely
And,
been cool. Right, I'm going to bring in, because Dr BreastyCray has joined us as a special guest appearance, and the sort of little backstory is Dr. BreastyCray said you need to speak to DJ Aviva. She'd be great on your streams and whatever. So then we sort of got chatting, and you did come and play on 45 Funksters, which was great. We try and promote. The first one we did, which was March 2021, was on International Women's Day, and we had 2 women DJs and myself and Sideshow. So we've always tried to get as many women DJs as we can involved in all of our raid trades. But she said you guys need to chat. We connected, you did that, and we were talking about connections earlier. So without further ado, here is Dr. BreastyCray.
What is up?
Hello, beauty.
How you doing?
I'm okay,
Hanging out.
living la vida loca, working my face off. You know how
I love
it is.
it. And look at the beautiful records behind her beautiful face. I'm like, any of us would sit there going, what's in the stacks?
Yeah.
So much, guys. Like, woo.
It's the best.
Yeah.
And
So
like,
good.
if you see down there, those are all the 45s.
All the 45s.
That's so good.
Yeah.
But yeah, you guys need to chat, because you're like both 45 masters. Obviously. He has.
I thank you, Dr. BreastyCray. You are, honestly, I have to give her a shout out, because she is always advocating for others, and I'm trying to also behind the scenes work on some stuff with her, because she's just, again, creatives need to have their creative friends always back each other up, and especially women need to really take care of other women, and that's something I'll tell you, in the business I'm in, at times you either have ones that are your advocates, or you have ones that are just looking to not be your advocate. And so when I find fellow females, or those that present as females, and are supportive of you, it's like, it's such a breath of fresh air, because it really is important. So I have to give flowers to Dr. BreastyCray. So thank you. I really,
and I
truly
return them to you. I mean, you're like one of the most positive streamers I've encountered, and you're every day, the way, or every time you stream, the way you sign off, it is so heartwarming, and it makes me feel good as a viewer. It like actually touches me. Like, first of all, I love readings and I love tarot, and that's something I've been doing like with my family since my children were young. I have like a picture of my youngest trying to like sell tarot readings and sleeping on a carpet when they were like 3. So that's near and dear to my heart, and like, I just love like a little positive affirmation for your day, and just to like keep on the positive side, especially with everything that's been going on. I agree. I mean, I don't know. It's like I live in Brooklyn right now.
No, they agree with you.
If you agree.
That's spirit saying,
welcome to Montreal, my friends.
Let's go. No, seriously, it means a lot to me, because that has been especially when I'm in a creative mode, I
Yeah.
can feel people's energies. And people have said that before. I've been doing, and a lot of times I do one-on-one readings when we have enough time. If those are feeling like they're having an off week, they'll say either, "Hey, can you pick?" I'll either show the oracle cards that I have, or they'll say, "You pick whatever you feel is right." And most of the time, they said that hit me where I needed to hear it today, and that to me means I've done my job because I'm tapped in. I end a lot of the times with our chats. I'll say we are souls having a human experience, not humans having a soul experience, and that's something that we have to remind ourselves of, is that we only have a short time on this coil. So what
Yeah.
are we going to do with the time that we have? Why are we wasting it being negative? And I've said this with a few of my friends here that yes, we joke about the numbers, what have you, but everyone has a space, whether it's on Twitch or in life. Everyone has
Yeah.
something that's special that they bring to the table, and I always want to remind my friends and those that I talk to all the time, like, sometimes someone will say something, you're like, wow, that landed where I needed it to land today. Like, that is the gift that was given to you that day. So how do you embrace that? And listen, there's days where I barely can make it to a stream because my son is doing his thing as a 5-year-old, or clients have been really hard that day. I work in production. I don't have to tell you that things just don't fall into alignment. They just don't. So I try to find my alignment in the day and have everyone feel like, you know what, you're not alone in this journey. And so that means a lot that you like the readings, because I truly feel like I put a nice little bow into what we've just experienced together.
Yeah, it's actually it's nice to also, I feel like as humans, we're inclined to like a beginning, middle, and end, and stories in that way. And so you close the book and then move on, every time you stream. It's pretty smart.
Thank you. And it's metaphorically for me as well. Like, if you ever go to see a reader, or someone that has the gifts to do that, they literally will, close the connection, because, that's the only way we can function here on this earth plane. Sometimes you have to like close the connection. And that's why when we dream, sometimes we don't always remember those dreams, because it really was us visiting with our spirit guides and our families and friends. So thank you for recognizing that. It means a lot.
That's
Thank you.
yeah, so much interesting stuff out there. I'm interested in how you guys connected. How did you connect?
I think it was like you were on a raid train. I don't know if I was on it or if you were or something. And it
I
was
think it
I
was
was new.
badass. I think it was badass ladies.
Was
I,
it?
I
It was
think.
like a very early on,
Oh,
maybe raid train for me then
yes.
when I first started streaming. And that's how I found you. And I was just like, immediately I got your vibe because we're kind of from the same universe, like I was a raver in the 90s and
Yeah.
everything that you're laying down is like, oh, that's my people, so I connected
100%.
immediately with that. And yeah, and the music for
And the
sure. It's
music.
got
And
like that
It's
great 90s, like, oh, the
I
45s.
still need to
They're
do
all
a
like
set. I
picture
know.
45s.
I promised you I would do a slow-mo dance set, and I have to do that for you.
you
I
need
gave
to.
you my word, and we're
I
gonna
hope
do
that
that.
all DJs will promise me that.
Have I
I
missed you, or
So
have
good.
you
Have you ever like
I did
sometimes
one or
people think
two. I
it's
can't
funny,
remember.
one or two?
slow is funny,
Yeah.
but sometimes it's serious as fuck.
Yeah. It is.
And those dance, that'll be serious.
Oh,
But
it's a
you'll
totally
get
different
into it and
vibe.
it'll be seamless. You know what I mean?
It
Ugh,
becomes really
I
interesting when
gave
you have,
myself shivers just thinking about it.
yeah.
Like, I'm for real when it comes to slow music.
You
I
are.
know
You definitely are.
45 Day is also because he has an
I'm
emote now.
I'm
No,
part of the cult. I
yeah,
joined the
we're in
cult
the
as
cult.
slow mo, and it's been
She's
a lot of
almost
fun.
in the cult, but she hasn't had the like earth
I
moving
haven't
moment.
had it because my whole thing is, and everyone will joke, I'm always like, do, 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 I'm like totally like, woo, energy. And so it's like, it takes a minute for me to just fall into that space.
It's a different energy.
It's a different energy.
The
So I have
dance
to find
music
my
will do
energy.
this
It
for you.
slows everything down. The
Yeah.
hour becomes like 2 hours. The space to sort of think, and hopefully this is what's happening. And then when you do say something, everyone's like, "Wow, yeah, that's interesting," because you've had
Actually,
time
my
to think.
partner put it best, I think. Best
Go on.
Patrick Egan. Longer songs, smoother
Yes,
grooves,
yes,
and more bass.
and don't
True.
forget the crazy videos to promote the stuff as well.
Oh yeah, and also
Those
I'll make
do you
you go.
create those yourself? Those are
Yes.
so
Amazing.
brilliant.
Thank you.
Amazing. I sit there going, every week it's a different incredible like mini movie. I
Yeah.
hope you're like putting together a sizzle. Like this is my producer brain thinking. You've got to put together a sizzle of all of your
Yeah.
amazing,
Yeah.
promos is what we call it in
We need
TV.
to, we
Yes.
need, this
The
is what I've
real.
sort of, yeah,
We need the
exactly. Real.
real.
We've talked a little bit with Barty, and I think it was Beep Awesome who came into Barty's call-in show and was saying that it would be great if all these shows, all these streamers had like a little minute, like a reel, this is what I do, this is the sort of stuff I do. And then other streamers, if they wanted to, could advertise it on there. So rather than watching ads for Amazon or whatever, they get to see adverts of other people in our community, and they'll be like, oh, okay, I didn't know who DJ Aviva was. I didn't know who Dr BreastyCray, that looks interesting. I'll go and check out their stream. And I think that's how we build this bigger.
Commercials, you mean?
Commercials, but about us.
That's what they were talking about.
Not about products. It's about people
Like,
and personalities and
self-promotion.
messages. We're all giving out our message. So let's spread the message as wide as we can, because it's all positive. We're all positive people.
Yeah, for sure. That's a big part of why I do what I do as well. As I said earlier, I pop up because I have to drown out the horrible noise of what, you both are in different countries and you have your own issues, but it is very ugly right now here where we're at. And I'm just going to leave it at that. It's just, I can't, the bare hatred and fear mongering that's going on is really tough to witness. So for me, it's like, I need to just push out into the universe better energy, because that's what we need more of right now. I like I said, I have two little kids. I know all three of us are parents. It is hard for me.
I'm a parent of a trans child. And like what's going on in the USA right now is like, there's days where I'm literally crying about it.
Every day. Yeah.
And yeah, I'm really happy about all the work you do, just speaking out about supporting the LGBTQA in your stream as well. So thank you.
I have to. Yesterday we did this was our second in 2 months. I did a stream with DJ Apollo and Dave Auday. I would think I was the only ally on the stream, and it was 5 of us, and we ended up raising something like $5,500 for Trevor Project. That was a couple months ago. And then last night, I'm not sure what the total amount was, but in our stream within 2 hours, we raised $100 for Trevor Project. Amazing. And I'm just going to keep doing. And that's another aspect of it. This is another reason.
This is something we can tell all streamers, because I as well just recently set up on my page that you can add a donation at any time to Trevor Project.
Yep.
And that is to help the US specific, like with trans rights, trans youth. And you can just leave it running on your page.
You can. And that's something that we love to do. And we've done that. And we've done it for a few. We did one. I've lost my best friend to cancer. So we did a cancer stream for research about for Mr. Lattenhouse about 2 weeks ago. And in fact, myself and Patrick's Vinyl, we were running Good Thursdays every week. We were choosing a different charity. And we made sure that we were always, during our streams, that full day that everybody was on the raid train, we put it towards whatever charity was at the point. That to me is another part of Twitch is very important, is having that aspect of it. So I can say, you know what? I can't be in the trenches doing what I'd like to do. I try to do it with my work, whether it's projects I'm working on. I worked with Logo New Now Next Awards. I was the EP co-EPs on that for years. And we were able to highlight the community the way I wanted to. And now at least I can do that with Twitch and help raise funds. And that is an important piece of it for me.
And it's using our platform, because I think we've all been involved in charity stuff. We've done like for mental health charities here in the UK. With our 45 kids, we raise money for a charity here called Jesse's Fun, which is a music therapy charity that goes into hospices and children with special needs and helps them with music and therapy. We've helped the homeless with shelter with sort of 45 kid and parent streams that we've done. Awesome. And it's like, it's great that we've got this. And I keep saying to it, look, we've got a small platform. At the end of the day, we highlight important issues. And if we can help charities or help other people with donations or time or awareness, or this is going on, these people can help. If one person watches that, it's worth doing.
Exactly. And I have to tell you, our community, every one of the, I call them the Aquatool Chaos crew, they show up. They are, someone last night gave out like 10 anonymous subs, and it just, the hearts that they have in that channel makes it just, that's what makes my day. It really, outside of my kids and my family, that's what makes my day. The fact that we do have a platform that we're able to do it. And I hope that Twitch continues. I don't know if whatever happened, was it Kick? What's the other platform that people started talking about?
There's a new one.
The new one.
Yeah, it's going to take a lot to jump, because I think, Mixcloud have tried to do it with the live streaming, and it just hasn't quite worked, because the community element, I don't think, quite works. It's good for listening to mixes. The interaction is that.
I mean, there's the whole Bezos thing,
Well,
I think that's the main issue here.
That's the only real complaint that people have said to me. And there's a few people who have been guests but don't really Twitch very much or don't stream much because of that, which I understand. But again, it's a bit like what you're saying, take all this negativity and try and replace it with positivity. So it may be a negative platform from whatever's at the head of it coming down, but if we're using it in a positive way, then almost
use it to your advantage.
I've never met a community like this in my life. I've never felt so safe and comfortable, and then also learned and like immediately connected. Like, this is the place I've learned the most about music all my life, and I've always been looking to learn. It's not like I just started trying.
You hear a track and you're like, oh my God, what is that track? I need to get a couple times. It happened the other day. I played Pig Bag, if everyone remembers that track. I played last night, and there was a DJ that rated it, and she's like, what? I've been wanting to know what song this is. It was just great to be like, here is Papa has a brand new Pig Bag, and here it is.
But Pig Bag,
what a song.
Pig Bag.
That's a tune that my daughter plays.
It is?
Lizzie plays, yeah.
Your daughter knows what's up.
I think it's in her little. As we're doing show and tell. Okay, so this is her record box that
adorable.
We went to. I don't know what you might have something similar. Garage sales, I suppose, over there. Boot fairs. People turn up in a field in their car. They open their boot, put all their
fair. Oh my God!
They put all their crap on a table, and then
so good.
Other people buy this crap. Okay, but you can find some interesting stuff. We found this record box. I think it was £5. So I
love it.
$10. And the woman was probably in her early, well, maybe late 70s. And she said this is a record box that she'd owned since she was a kid at 15. And I was like, wow, that's amazing. So that's gone from her having it for 60, 70 years. And that's like my daughter's record box.
I love, is it pink or red?
It's more red.
More red. Okay. I couldn't quite tell. I love that.
In here. A real mixture. But yeah, there you go.
I love. I'm going to show off my my
There's
Star
the pig
Wars.
bag.
That's the Pig Bag. I love that she's got. See, she knows what's up. She really does.
Bananarama.
Ooh.
This isn't a bad song. MC Hammer.
Oh wait, which one?
You
can't touch this.
You should just.
Oh, okay, I was going to say, is it Prey?
You should make your daughter's collection your next slow set.
You really should. That's a brilliant idea.
Okay,
I just want to say that mine has a Chewbacca.
26.
Yeah. Okay.
I love that. You should though. I mean, that's kind of great. It's funny because speaking of our kids loving music, my son randomly, there were 2 tracks that he has loved and playing it over and over and over again. One of them, when he was a kid, the only time he would, he wanted to take a bath was when I had Todd Rundgren, Bang the Drum All Day. That was just one of his favorites. And the second one that he has me do on repeat, we played it during the Twitchiversary, was Jerry Baker Street.
Okay.
Baker Street. He's 5.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that's, music just transcends.
The Tom Tom Club and Salt and Pepper. Like my youngest can sing every Salt and Pepper song front to back.
I love that. How old's your youngest?
19. He's 19. He's back living with me now. I actually have been trying to encourage him to stream music as like an emo Y2K emo kid.
Mm-hmm.
Also because he has rheumatoid youth arthritis, like a rare form of tendon arthritis, and he was a musician. This kid was gigging when he was like 5. Okay. And then eventually it took like over 5 years to diagnose it. And now it's like, this is like a tendon arthritis. So it's really hard for him to play instruments. And he's also transitioning. So his voice is changing quite a lot. So he's not singing as much. And I keep being like, you know, it would be so great for you to find streaming, because you can just like, I've seen so many streamers with controllers who just like love expressing themselves and singing their music to cam, and people love them. And I think it's a really good community. But you know, mom's suggesting it, so it'll probably never happen.
Right. If mom suggested, it's not cool. I know. I'm bracing for that.
Even though he did come with me to Ohio and meet Barty Cutts. So
how did that go? How did they get on?
What's that?
How did they get on?
They're great. Finn fit right in. It was really such a delight. And then on top of it, you know, to have him there while I was DJing, and he was like right there going, I love you, like while I'm playing like a crazy party set and dancing. And he fully wore like a jumpsuit as well that I had brought.
Oh, the jumpsuits, of course. Everyone was wearing jumpsuits.
Yeah. So your kids will love you when you're older if you're a good parent. It does.
We're working on it. Well, the funny thing is, it's like, I think I mentioned this to you, maybe if I didn't, but so I have a video, I need to send it to you or tag you, Dr. BreastyCray. My son, we were in our old house. I had on, I think it was Bananarama, and I had it on the regular setting, and Jacob was like, nope, and put it to 33. He was like, I'm your Venus. I'm like, maybe Jacob needs to do a set for Slow Mo Mondays. I think that is probably what's going to happen.
I would love it. Kids,
I mean, we've
talked about, cool.
We've talked about how playing a set is like music therapy, because you find other people who are your tribe and your people. So if you can persuade him, I'm sure he will find other people into what he's into.
Completely.
I can maybe get my child to do it, because I'll be like, it would be an embarrassment to the community if you should help me.
You should do like we do, a parent and kids stream. And so I DJ with my daughter, DJ Double P DJs with his daughter, and we've got the Sunday Get Down. I think Dr. BreastyCray, you probably know the Sunday Get Down. Do you know DJ Arlo? 13-year-old.
11-year-old or a 13-year-old?
13.
Oh my God, he's so crazy. Wait till you check out his 45s. Have you ever seen it?
Oh yeah, Raquel.
I mean, he's I'm trying to get him on slow-mo, but it hasn't worked out.
It's a bit late for him because he's obviously a kid.
It's too late at night on a Monday.
We've talked before about maybe we can combine and do like a 45
I'm open to starting it into
slow-mo. Yeah, we can just start in the afternoon or something.
Right, exactly. Before he has a school night.
But he's playing. He's played a couple of sets with his dad, who first got him into DJ, and they talk about how his dad used to live in Brighton, which is sort of just over there. And his dad used to go to the record shop, and he'd be on the floor picking out 45s, like buying one, and then he remembers that, and then obviously now he's into DJing, and it's just that connection. But just say to him, let's do a set together. You play me some of your songs, I'll play you some of my songs.
My kids used to come to the record store with me and get so mad just being there. They'd be like, this is so boring.
Boring, right.
And then, but you know, now they're all buying vinyl. They're both buying vinyl. Oh, by the way, my oldest graduated adult high school today. So
congratulations.
Shout out to my son who used to be a Twitch streamer as a gamer, and I was like his meme. For like, shut up, coming in the room.
That's awesome.
Screaming. Anyway, but yeah.
Did you understand? Because we were talking about this earlier about how Twitch was sort of gamers playing games and watching. Did you understand why he was watching Twitch back then?
No, right. I hated Twitch because all it was like, and I know not all gamers are probably like this, but you know, when you're rolling through a pandemic and your kid is like screaming with headphones on, swear words to strangers on the internet, it just doesn't sound or feel good. You know?
Yeah.
And then every time I'm walking in there going, hey, like we live here too, he's making a joke that's like slightly inappropriate. You know what I mean? Get a laugh from people I don't know are listening.
Oh boy.
So no, I didn't like it very much.
Yeah,
And
no,
then,
of course
but
not.
I think it is the perfect revenge to then take this platform and do something fun with it.
Every
And
week.
now he's like, this is embarrassing. My mom's a Twitch.
Like, oh my God, my mom is on these streets.
Yeah.
She's having
So
a
I win.
party on the Twitch streets.
And I bet that's something you never thought would happen a few years ago. That's the crazy thing. Who would have thought would be, well, just a show, you know, talking
Exactly.
to you about what we're talking about, you know, a few years ago, you'd be like, how would we even get there?
Right. How would this even happen?
Yeah.
Right. And
Because
I truly hope that Twitch stays a platform that we can utilize, because
Yeah.
again, this is where I'm incredibly grateful for technology. And I know I keep saying, like, and when Twitch is like, you know, completely, you know, screws up on days, we're like, oh my God, Stream Elements isn't working. This isn't working. Twitch is mad. I am grateful all the time because I press a button and then everyone's there. And it's just, you know, we time travel together. It is just, I don't know what we would have done had we not had that platform as a creative community. It would have been a very hard and different pandemic.
Definitely.
100%.
And as
I
double
only
piece
found out at the tail end about Twitch.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
I'm glad
You're
I
a
found
late
it.
starter, but you're now the
You're
slow-mo.
Queen Slow-Mo Mondays.
Yeah.
And Queen Thrifter. I want to go thrifting with Dr. BreastyCray. Seriously. Like, I need to make a trip to Canada. This just needs to happen.
Yeah.
Or vice versa, man.
Or vice versa. Come down
But
here.
you're always welcome here, obviously.
I can't wait. Seriously.
Yeah. we need to organize. I mean, we're already organizing little things here and there, but you know, something international would be interesting. Where we could organize something where we can all get to it from different countries. Maybe leave our original country to go
We should
somewhere.
just start a whole new country. Hear me out. No.
Well, we sort of have, haven't we? We've all created our own little
It's in the
community.
sky.
Twitchtopia. It's
Yeah,
called
and then it's just a
Twitchtopia.
case of let's bring everyone together. And one of the reasons we sort of decided to do the show, Aviva, is we sort of decided that it'd be cool to organize a raid train. Involve some of your community, some of my community. I know Dr. Breast. Yeah, they go. They're beeping for you again, Dr. BreastyCray.
I'm telling you, that means yes.
Yep.
You're gonna be one of the streamers. I'll pick some streamers who I think would add to our positivity and our joy and all of that, and then you do the same. And then we just put on this cool raid train where there's no rules.
I would love that.
Bring the positivity.
No rules, raid train. There's your name.
There are some great streamers on it. I'm just looking at who's with us right now. There's some great ones in
raid
here.
train.
No rules, raid train. Okay.
No.
we could
are there ever really any rules though? I mean, are there?
Well, I think there is one rule where sort of nudity.
No nips.
And there was no nips. Yeah. The who was it? The Canadian guys, Ski Tour. They had a nipple in a background video from a show of theirs they did, and then they got banned for a few weeks.
Really? That's so great, because when we first started, I made Best Patrick cover up Iggy Pop's nipples on a poster.
Really?
Yeah. And
that's about the only thing
because I saw who's that very famous streamer? Well, he used to do YouTube and in his robe all the time.
Oh,
Dark
boy.
Something.
Don't know.
He makes his own music and he wears a robe, and during the pandemic people were like in love with him. Anyway,
that's crazy.
He's super famous DJ. He's like with Erykah Badu and Reggie Watts at this point, but yeah,
Modern
he did a Twitch stream with Erykah Badu and Reggie Watts, and he was like Erykah Badu.
Is it David Morales? I wonder if it is David Morales.
No, his name is Mark something.
Oh, Mark.
No, Modern Meerkat saying DJ David
Mark
Morales literally
has
his nipples on his profile.
Soko Nate got it. Mark Riboulet.
He had to make sure to not expose a nipple, and was saying,
can you imagine?
He was in an Amazon house, live streaming on Twitch, and being like, they don't like nipples, not even men. So it is true.
Wow.
Okay.
Men nipples, no.
Nothing.
No.
Good thing. I mean, okay.
Well, on that note.
Hey, we're safe.
And anyway, that's a wrap. I'm just kidding.
Where are we going next? We do have to go somewhere soon, but not quite. We've probably got about another 10 minutes or so. So maybe we can. Why
don't I let you guys talk? No. I'm just a
Can
little
do.
special guest, and
You're a
I love
special guest. You've been an amazing special guest,
we
and
love a special guest.
yes, we will once we organise this no rules or whatever it's turned out to be
great.
Right.
called raid. Then
Shenanigans. We're
you're
used to
playing.
shenanigans.
You're playing, obviously.
Yes, I'll play it. I'm
I
just
love it.
taking a hiatus on organizing anything extra
Yeah.
for
You
mental
organise a
health
lot.
reasons.
You
It's
organise a
We'll
lot already.
post.
you're every week organizing. That's a lot.
Yeah,
It
it
is
is
a
a lot. Sometimes I don't get to the poster till Monday morning, but
Well, it is what it is.
it
People
is
know
what
where
it
they
is
know where to go for
sometimes.
Slow Mo Mondays.
Because I do pop-ups every weekend almost, or once a month or whatever. So
I love
anyway,
it.
it's a lot.
Well, I
Definitely.
love that you're doing that, and it is a lot of fun, and we will make. I want to put together. I want to curate a set that makes sense that you will enjoy. That's what I want to. I want to make it
See,
special.
Sounds good.
curation is the key.
Curation.
Because
Yes.
it's like,
Before you go, I want to tell you something. But yeah, go on. Curation.
for me, it's like, sure, you can feel good about a set where you're just rando grabbing when it comes to like slow-mo specifically.
Mhm.
But if you, I mean, the thing that I'm working at towards always, because I'm still like, in my opinion, a baby DJ, because I started in the early 2000s and then I hiatused because I had no money for records or, functioning like techniques. So, I'm only back DJing regular for a year now. So I'm still learning how to mix right in front of people. I'm still learning how to
Okay.
curate. And I just feel like keeping that vibe, like my partner, Best Patrick Egan, not to just talk about him the whole time, but like he is the smoothest mixer in the world.
He's
So
a great he's
it's
a
fucking
great mixer. I've seen him put tracks together that you're going, I wouldn't even thought of those two going together, and I love that he does. But yeah, no, mixing is tough, and I mean, listen, there's days where I'm just not in the mood to really think about it. I just want to go with it, so I'll do a selector set. I mean, that's
Yeah.
you just carve out what you need to carve out, and also. If you notice, like as you do, we go to different genres all the time, and sometimes it's just that's why we put teacups as an emote. Like, okay, we're gonna teacup it because we do what's called vinyl roulette. We don't do it all the time because sometimes it gives my poor mods whiplash, but
Right.
we do this thing where basically if they use their points, we pick a random 45. You've been there, Dr.
yeah.
BreastyCray, and we
Yeah.
put it on, and it isn't going to beat match, and that sometimes it's okay just to be you. And I've seen you match, and it's been great. So you're doing
It's great when I
awesome.
match.
No, when you DJ, I love when you spin because I like especially the raid that we did. I forgot what was it Prince? I forgot what it was. A couple
Yeah.
last time, and it was
Or
awesome.
women.
Or women. I can't remember which one we were on, but it
Yeah,
was.
I think you might have rated into me for
Yeah.
the women one.
And it was great, and I love watching, and I love watching and I think anytime someone is just so enthusiastic about what they do behind the decks, that's what it's about,
Yeah.
and F everything else, truly.
Definitely.
Yeah. And I also, as a woman and a DJ, this is like an important thing to talk about probably is like, you don't get a lot of time or you get pushed to like the late night sessions when you're out and people push you around. They talk shit to you. Like that was my experience.
It just happened to me on Saturday. It literally just happened to me on Saturday where this guy came in. I won't say who it was. And we don't like to ban people, but someone came in and was making comments about not just me, but also making comments to the mods, making comments to the community. And I was like, we are not your people and you have to go.
Yeah.
And so it was one of those things. Oh, someone wants to say hi. You want to say hi to everybody?
Hey.
There's our mini DJ. Can you say
Hello.
hi? You
Hello.
tell them that you love to put on a record and then slow it down. This is the queen of slow-mo Mondays.
Wow.
You should start DJing with us.
You need to also speed it up like my daughter. Speed up Manumana.
It's a banana.
Yeah.
But it happened on Saturday, and it doesn't happen often, but when it does, it's just ugly energy. And and we had, and I don't like banning, but we had to.
Well, I thought you meant that happened in real life, and I was like, whoa.
Well, it's happened in real life too. I was saying, when I was one of the rare few DJs, even in New York City,
It's
and
always a comment.
I had friends had to stand by the DJ decks because some people get drunk, they're in your face, they're dropping drinks in front of your records, and it was not always a fun place to be. So I became very good friends with all the bouncers at every club. They would be my friends. I'm like, okay, get rid of this one. And Metal Flack is my bouncer now. She knows it. She'll admit it.
Yeah, I was gonna say that Twitch for me is like a really safe place to learn because people really encourage that here,
Yeah.
and they're not like trying to tell it like you get to choose. Is that lip sync? Sorry.
It is. My
Yeah, I
son
love
just
that
picked up
album.
lip sync, just to give
I
you an idea
actually,
of where we're going with this. Both kids are going, see, there you go. Buddy,
your child and
there's
I
a-
are connected musically because
Yeah.
I'm gonna like make a tattoo out of the cover of that. Actually,
it is I showed it the other day. I'm like, this is probably one of the greatest record covers ever. It is so good.
That's
And
my
there's
next
times when
tattoo.
he'll just pick records like that.
It says "pucker up" and it's like electricity.
Yes,
And she's
exactly.
going,
The head is a plug. It's,
yeah.
it's so good. Oh, here's the other one.
Anywho, okay, I'm gonna peace out. Very nice
Okay,
talking to
Dr
you.
BreastyCray,
He's
thank you
spinning
so
records
much.
as we
Oh,
speak. Say
Hey,
hi.
how you
Say
doing?
hi to everybody.
Okay,
Bye, love.
I'll be in the chat.
Take
Okay.
it easy, Dr BreastyCray. Speak to you
Bye.
soon.
So this is these are my kids. They're putting on a Casablanca record. It's Pucker Up, lip sync. She was right. This is our everyday over here.
But you know what? We've talked about streamers, viewers being, we talk about, I'm sure you do, family, community.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's so great when kids pop up in streams. There's Sideshow Mall, who I run 45 Funksters with, had his son just over a year ago, and he hadn't really been on stream. And more recently, he is now occasionally sitting on the floor, pulling out records while he's streaming, and it's great fun.
Completely.
Do you know DJ Flip Out?
No, I need
Okay.
to.
He's an amazing DJ, and he's got his daughter Mars, who he brings on stage. She must be, I'm saying over one, maybe just one. And he brings her on, and she's occasionally going to sort of grab the microphone and say hello and do stuff like that. And he plays this video behind him on his green screen.
He does.
Of when she was first born. So the first couple of hours, and you can see her sort of, opening her eyes and sort of looking around and stuff. And that's something positive. Every time that comes up or she comes up, it's just such a positive feeling.
It is. And I'm it's so fun. It's literally, if I sound distracted, it's because I have Jacob here putting on lip sync with the Casablanca thing behind me. And then Sophia's just in awe of all of it. And she's dancing around my legs like this. Toot,
Yeah.
toot, 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 toot. But no, that's the thing. Like I am very grateful. I didn't have a chance to really give a shout out to my husband. He, Wednesdays and Saturdays are when I stream, and he takes on kid duty. He makes sure that they're in the bath. He puts them to bed so that I'm able to do what I need to do.
Yeah.
The flip side of it, he's in a play this weekend. He likes to do local theater, and he's in a one-act play. He's actually been in Monty Python, which has been hilarious and great.
Wow.
And this week it's his tech week, because over the weekend he's going to be in rehearsals. So we just make it work because we met in college. We were best friends. We didn't, date. We didn't get together till later but believe it or not, on Facebook we found each other. And we both know that we have to allow ourselves to be creative, and that's his way of doing it, and this is my way. So I'm incredibly grateful that I have a partner that also supports Twitch and doing what we do.
And I think that really helps. We will call it to an end very shortly, but in the chat, anyone that we should be raiding to who's live now, let us know, and we can head to them while we're sort of talking. But yeah, it's the same with my wife. My wife's a dance teacher, and she's creative and does choreography. My daughter goes to some of her dance classes, drives her nuts sometimes, but she does go to her classes. Hello, and hello, how are you?
Can you say hi? You want to wave? Yeah. And then once we sign off, then she'll be talking the entire time.
Of course.
This is the usual.
Of course. Okay.
That's so she's a dance instructor. That's great. I do want to say a big thank you to those that are here. A lot of them are part of our crew that, again, and I say this, some of our friends spend hours upon hours with us, and I'm eternally grateful for that, because time is limited and we have so many distractions on things that we can do. So wait, hold on, let me move him out of the way, Jacob.
I love it. I think we're gonna go and see Don Cham Sam. So I set the raid.
Perfect.
But I said to you at the beginning, this is probably going to be a part one.
Yes.
Let's talk more, because I think it's interesting. Like I said, well, first of all, we'll talk about putting a raid train together, but I think it will be interesting further down the line to sort of do a couple more and see where you're at, what's going on in your community, because that's, I think, the way we're going to build and get more people involved and spread the positivity, spread the joy.
Absolutely. It's really important. And I'm grateful for you for doing this, because it is really important to know that some friends that really, and I'm glad that you did this with your friend that really needed to feel the support of the community and with you. I think and in a safe space, because that is a very important part of it. I'm just really grateful that we're able to do this. And anytime I'd love to come and chat more, because I'm so grateful for Dr. BreastyCray for making sure that she put us together. Because again, when you find your souls, and it's important that you stick together, especially in this day and age.
And we were talking about inspiration. I get inspired and educated by every stream I watch. There's always something going on, and that's again the beauty of what we've created. But yes, it's been absolutely fantastic. We are going to go and see Don Champ Sound, who's the first person who I sort of saw doing the slow-mo. And then I met Barty Katz, and then I met Dr. BreastyCray, and I'm totally addicted. But yes, you should definitely do that slow-mo set soon.
Let's do that soon. I have a screamer over here.
Take it easy, everyone. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everybody, for being here. And thank you so much, 45 Day.
No worries. Take care.